told that if we stay in the city where that man is, his prayer would kill us all convert us. And I remember the instruction was stay out of the city 70 miles away.
Wow.
This is the first time also I'm recording my testimony in his folders. Must have been sharing in different platforms, but this is the first time I'm sitting in a recording to share my life testimony. So I thank God for this opportunity. And oftentimes when I'm sharing my testimony, it's like I'm going back through those experiences. I need a grace. Sometimes the pain returns, the pain of the thing I went through. But I thank God that now, after many years,
You might not understand some of the depth of the occult. In fact, some of these things will blow your mind when you hear, the depth to which people engage in dark activities. But I know, just as James said, God is going to use this to glorify his name.
what God has called me to do is to strategically train intercessors to pray and take over territories for God. One of the things the Lord told me to do after encountering Jesus and seeing the power of prayer. By the way, I knew the power of prayer before I became born again. I kept encountering people praying and wondering what kind of lives are they. One example, maybe to bring it out, is I was still in the occult, and I was in the city in Kampala. And I remember I got instruction from our leaders to vacate the city and stay away 70 miles out from the city and remove all our operations because a man of God was coming in the city. And I remember we were told that if we stay in the city where that man is, his prayer would kill us, all convert us. And I remember the instruction was stay out of the city 70 miles away.
Wow.
But also do not enter the city even 21 days
After.
he has left. So I was still in the occult, and I was like, what kind of power is this? Because I knew the power, I knew Satan, I knew I had been all these kind of powers. But then we were being warned not be around that man's, where he is in the city. That man was Maurice Cerullo. So he was coming in the city. And I remember we were told, stay out of the city 70 miles away and do not enter the city another 21
That's
days.
incredible.
Because even after 21 days, his power, the effect of his power remains in the atmosphere after 21 days he has been in the city. So I knew the power of prayer. So when I came to Christ, the Lord was telling me, okay, you have seen the mistakes, the errors, because one of the work I was doing before I came to Christ was fighting churches and breaking churches. And the Lord was saying, now, you know how you broke these churches, and you know what were the errors and the mistakes and the weaknesses. So can you train an army of intercessors all over the world?
I like that. So now let's go back to the beginning. What are the earliest memories you have?
I could see when I remember I looked at my mother, and like this time she was desperate to tell me and say, please, can you not interfere with where we're going? Can we, please don't interfere. So like to convince me not to interfere, my powers, the power I had as a boy, for where we're going. So she had to tell me the story of my life. How she ended up in this. So this is what she tells me. She says, when she got married the reason she married my father, because her father had died, and her father was a rich chief, and she was the only daughter, and she had a brother, my uncle then. And when her father died, she says she knew the family in Africa. Most times the family would take over every property, so she needed protection. So by the grace of God, she says, at the time when her father died, and she's desperate, she's just a young lady, then my father started dating her. And my father, coming from a prominent family, a very known family and very strong, she thought this man, if he marries her, she'll get protection. So she gets into the family. Now, my father also was marrying her because he had been told he would find a young girl, marry early, and get as many children as possible. Because my father, being a son of a chief, son of like a prime minister, he was the only son. The brother had died. He had 7 sisters, the only son. So they were like, now you need to get a woman, get children, and raise a heir for the throne, like the chiefdom. So he marries for the purpose of getting a son. So when she married, my father and my mother, they married. She gave birth. The first child was a girl. The second child, also a girl. The third child, also a girl. Now, by the 4th child, the entire family, the chiefs, the tribe, they're all like, this woman is a waste. Because in my tribe, if you have only girls, they say you don't have children.
Wow.